What's up, everyone? Lance Hedrick here, and today I have for you a truly peculiar machine. Now, this little guy doesn't really have a name. A Patreon member of mine found it on Alibaba, sent me a link, and it was called like the Evenly Automatic Italian Espresso Maker Rotary Pump Coffee Electric Machine. There was one listing out of the multiple listings of the same product that allowed a minimum of one, and so I bought that. This little cutie is a vibratory pump. What is in here is a rotary pump. They housed it, they added a small motor to it in order to pump water, and they put it onto a group head. We're sitting at like 8 bar, and when you take the portafilter out, it's just kind of sitting on the stand. Very easy idea, and actually, it's kind of brilliant. There are obviously some issues with it. There are some really cool things, and we'll get to them all in this video. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is there's a pressure gauge here, and there's a little knob here, and you may be like, well, what the frick is that knob for? The knob is actually to control the speed at which the water's pumped out, so you have complete pressure or flow control. So whenever you go down or up, it increases and decreases the flow and the potential pressure that's coming out and into your puck. Pressure is, of course, as we've discussed on this channel many times, the product of input flow and resistance. So it largely depends on the resistance you have in your cake of coffee. This just kind of goes, great option there. And up here, you have the pressure gauge so that you can monitor your pressure at the group head. So it's drilled right into the group head, gives you immediate back pressure, which is what you want when you're pressure profiling. There is no tank. There is no water heating element. You need to use your own heated water in order to make this work. They have a little nipple on top of this machine that you put a tube onto. Now, the tube, of course, comes with the machine. I took it off because it's ugly, which is another issue with this. It looks like we're, tying someone into the Matrix with a plug in the back of their head. Whenever water's going through it, not all the water being pumped can come out, so there that is. So you need a little receptacle to catch the excess water that is not going to go through the puck at all. We have a button right here, and this goes on and off, so you obviously also have to have it plugged in. Another dangly thing. So by the end of it, the once minimalistic, cute little thing now turns into like a what do you call it? A ventriloquist dummy, right? They have a pretty nice shower screen on here. There's no screw in the center. Came in with little scuff marks and shipment. That's fun. But I have the buku sitting here, but of course you can use the Waitman scale. It fits just fine. We're doing the buku because it looks better on black on black. Right, so we've got our coffee ground up, and what I'm going to do first, since the water's at 99, is I'm just going to heat up the portafilter in the group head, just by running some water through. Good enough. And then we'll put this pitcher back to the side to catch the overpressure waste. So as you see, we've got a little bit of tubes going on. It looks a little funny, like a science experiment. But anyway, let's go ahead and pull this out. Got our coffee. When the pump is at a high speed, it's going to be louder, obviously, because it's spinning faster. When it goes to a lower speed, it won't be as loud. So we're going to start high, then we're going to just kind of go down after we have a fast fill. So let's go ahead and do this. There we go. Now we slow it down. We're sitting at like 8 bar. I'm letting it go to 8, and I'm just going to let it sit and decline on its pressure on its own as it goes down. Just barely going down, kind of like a lever shot. We had a 20-gram dose, so I'm going to bring it up to about 35. And stop right there. 35 on the dot. Now, of course, you can do different pressure profiles. What I have noticed is if you go all the way down to 0, it can airlock it a bit, which is a bit annoying. Doing kind of blooming is not the greatest idea with this, but you can get down close to where you're fully off and where you're getting like 0.2 grams a second. That's almost as good as blooming. I don't know the longevity of a machine where you're running hot water through the pump, especially if you're not treating that water really well. The harder the water, the faster it's going to have issues. I've never actually disassembled a rotary pump, but I can't imagine it would be too difficult because I guarantee there are loads of videos on YouTube on how to clean out scale from a rotary pump, because these are in other industries other than just coffee, and water goes through them all the time. And obviously, you know, you could change out the plastic for something else if that's not to your liking. But I think this is such an easy idea that I fully believe a lot of home enthusiasts who are tech, you know, tech and engineering forward could probably create something like this for very cheap on their own. You just need a pump that is bringing in water to a group head. You can buy different group head stock offline, or you can create your own, you know. Obviously this is not something everyone's going to be able to do. It's a very simple in concept and pretty easy in execution. Of course, there are a lot of things that could make this a whole lot better. Very simple things like making the stand a bit more sturdy and making this so it can lock into the stand. The portafilter, even though it is fully sealed, you can kind of pull it all the way around without stopping. So if they had a lock on there just so it would lock into place. Some very simple things that wouldn't really change the price that would make this a lot better. People often will point out when I'm using a cheap machine, but I use like my blind shaker. And so what I'm going to do is overly meme this machine. I have the 58 to 49 converter in. So this is from S-Works. That's a 58 millimeter shower screen essentially. And then you can plug a 49 millimeter basket into it. 49 millimeter 15 gram basket. We're going to use, of course, some Picky Chemist Finca Ellipse Gesha into my expensive little cup here, and an Acaia Pixis, which is a horribly overpriced little scale. I'm going to try to emulate the ultra low contact espresso profile from a decent espresso machine created by user on Discord, Long PBO. I'll start with 87 degrees water just for a fast fill. And then I'm going to cut it down and dump some cool water in there to quickly temperature profile. And we're going to heat it in like 12 seconds. So let's see what happens. Of course, I also had to grind on an EG1 with ultra low fines burrs from SSP just to make this a chef's kiss, over the top, lean into the critique experience. Y'all know I like budget stuff, but sometimes we're got to go a little crazy here. All right, 11 seconds. Not quite sure how it pulled because I was doing so many things at once, but I did get the temperature down to 70, which is close enough. We wanted it dipped down to like 66, 67. But there we have our shot, and you may be thinking, what the heck, Lance? That is so stupid. Why would you do that? But for funsies, that was a 48.71 yield. Why are we doing this in a little weird review? Just don't ask questions. Just enjoy life. We just do things we want to do. I'm not being super scientific with this. This will give us a rough reading. I'm not being as controlled as normally, but I could have gone finer, obviously. It pulled faster than I even meant to. I still got an 18% extraction yield. It has a pretty low TDS, just under 6, but... oh my God. Filled with like raspberry candy. Nice white florals. Really sweet, refined sugar. This is banging. This is actually probably the best shot of this I've pulled. Wow. And it's got like actually all these shots pulled like this have like a nectar-like body, which doesn't make sense to me. That's how fast it is, but it's like candy. Being ridiculous aside, obviously you don't need to have all of that in order to make good coffee with this. It's a fun machine, a little rotary pump with a pressure profiling knob on the front. There are a lot of issues with it, but my hope is that other people will take this idea of simplicity over complexity. There are people who are, you know, putting in pressure profiling, but they're making it $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 machines, when in reality, you can make it simplistic like this. This is a rotary pump espresso machine. Yes, it doesn't heat water, but it's $300. Like, come on, manufacturers. We can do this. You can put in rotary pumps. You can get rid of vibratory pumps that are so annoying, and you don't have to charge thousands of bucks. The time is over where you're charging $2,000 plus for a machine with a vibratory pump. Get rotaries. Listen to our plea. Give us high flow rate. Give us quiet pumps. Give us commercial quality. And stop with the vibes, okay? But I want good vibes, not vibratory pumps. That's all I have to say today. Remember the downsides of this. I'm not saying to go buy it, but proof is in the pudding, you know? I hope you enjoyed this weird video. Hope you enjoyed this peculiar machine. I hope that you enjoyed everything about your day, and I also hope that you brew something tasty today. Cheers.